All right, welcome back, Chelsea fans, to another London is Blue YouTube exclusive. That's right, we are unfortunately here to talk about the end of the road in the Champions League for the Chelsea women's team, who went out with another 4-1 defeat after the first leg 4-1 defeat. They did it at home this time. It was pretty ugly. We're going to talk about a lot of the reasons why in this one and think about what needs to happen in the future for Chelsea to get over this incredibly large hurdle that exists for them. But first, I just want to say to this team that has provided so much joy to me personally and to millions of Chelsea fans around the world that we are still firmly behind you. Obviously, this was a difficult two-leg fixture. An 8-2 aggregate result is not what we had on our bingo card, but there's still two trophies to play for. This team is known for winning trophies. Sonia Bonpastor is known for winning trophies. The effort and dedication that's been put in all season under difficult circumstances is not in vain. This is all a learning curve, and Chelsea women just aren't quite at that level yet to kind of advance past the biggest, baddest team in the land, and that's Barcelona. So that's before we dive into the specifics here. Just, firmly behind the Chelsea women's team. Really appreciate everyone who went out on Sunday, even though the scoreline was always going to be difficult. The fact that it was so loud at Stamford Bridge, there were so many people enjoying the day out, was really heartwarming to see. So appreciate everyone who did that. And unfortunately, now we have to talk about it because Chelsea did lose 4-1 to Barcelona again, this time at home. 8-2 on aggregate. Barcelona did 10-2 on aggregate against Wolfsburg in the last round. They are just absolutely on fire. They're a different animal right now. And Chelsea really struggled to cope against their athleticism, their press, and their clinical finishing ability. And it showed. So Vika Kaptein did get a late consolation goal in this one. Bonmati, Payor, Pina, and Periabuelo got the goals for Barcelona in the 25th, 41st, 43rd, and 90th minute, respectively. Chelsea's lineup was pretty much the same, a couple of notable changes, but Hannah Hampton in goal, of course, Lucy Bronze at right back, Millie Bright at center back, Naomi Girma gets to start for an injured Natalie Bjorn. Niamh Charles moves into the left back spot for this one. Shuka Nuskin, Kira Walsh, and Erin Cuthbert make up the midfield three. Sandy Baltimore getting a start on the left wing. Myra Ramirez and Johanna Ritten-Kaneryd on the right. Subs in the 46th minute, Ashley Lawrence in for Naomi Girma. I think that was a planned substitution as Girma continues to build fitness. Aggie Beaver-Jones in at the 46th minute for Myra Ramirez. Vika Kaptein in the 61st minute for Sandy Baltimore. Kat Macario in the 61st minute for Erin Cuthbert. And Micah Hamano in the 74th minute for JRK. Unused subs of Spencer Cox and Palm, Wrighton, Jean-Francois, and Lola Brown. So it was a difficult game. Chelsea, outside of Shuka Nuskin, all in the mid to low sixes. Lucy Brown's the 5.8 on the sofa score. A very, 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 very tough fixture. And it's kind of proven out in the stats yet again. Chelsea did have many more shots than in the first leg. They had 4 in the first leg, 2 on target in the first leg. This time they had 19 shots, 7 on target. Chelsea had 38% possession to Barcelona's 62%. Barcelona had 17 shots, and 9 of those 17 shots were on target. It's far too many on target out of those total shots. Barcelona an 89% pass accuracy to Chelsea's 84, and only 3 fouls to Chelsea's 11. This was a pretty dominant performance yet again. And I think Sonia Bonpastor, after the first game, kind of has to come out and say, we could still do it, guys. Like, it's going to be tough, but we can do it. And I think that after this one, notably, she came out and was much more somber and frustrated in her tone. It's obviously a huge defeat, 8-2 on aggregate for a team that you only lost 2-1 on aggregate against last year is crazy. It's a huge step back against pretty much the same team. So she said, yes, everyone is really sad. First of all, frustrated by the result, but also the performance. We all wanted to have a good performance, especially playing at home with the support of the fans. today we couldn't perform again. We knew we were going to have a tough challenge. We knew we were going to play against the best team in Europe. Probably, it's not probably, they are the best team in Europe. I don't think we're remotely close. If you're able to do an 8-2 against Chelsea, that's a big time showing for Barcelona. I think the fans were just waiting for us to score that first goal to help us turn things around. It did not happen. As you could see, when they scored their first goal, it was too easy for them. I think especially when you leave space for her to go and score. I think after the first goal, mentally, we just didn't play well enough to cope with the situation. And that's pretty much it. It was a very, very difficult thing to watch. This Chelsea women's team were undefeated up until a month ago when they lost against Man City. Those were probably the first warning signs that this fixture against Barcelona was going to be incredibly difficult for them from a style perspective. Chelsea played a light version of what Barcelona has been doing for years, and it cost them. And there's a lot of reasons why, but I think Sonia Bonpastor will look at this and go, it's nowhere near the level. And it wasn't. I mean, just flat out, if you've watched the Chelsea women, especially playing the Champions League, especially late stages of the Champions League, there was a mental fortitude, a resoluteness that came across when Chelsea would play in these late stages. Obviously didn't advance always, but they always went out on their shield, and it didn't really feel that way this time, if I'm candid. I know that Millie Bright came out after the match and said, hey, we gave everything, and we left it all out there and all that sort of stuff. But I didn't really feel that way. I didn't feel that way after this one. It felt like mentally they were kind of beaten after the first leg and, didn't really show up in the right way to get it done. And I think Sonia kind of echoed that. I mean, this had to be pretty embarrassing for her as a manager, considering her Lyon teams played Barcelona much closer in previous years. So I can't imagine that this was a hell of a lot of fun for anybody, and especially not a fun watch early on a Sunday morning with a slight hangover that was my own doing. So let's talk about Insight One. Insight One is just a complete and utter back to the drawing board moment for Chelsea women and against this opponent in this fixture. Look, this is the third year in a row we've played against this team. Historical knowledge would tell you that you're going to know how they play. Sonia Bonpastor has experience against Barcelona as well. And they played and coached like they didn't know what was going to happen. And I think that was a huge problem. I talked in the video last week about how the tactics were completely wrong. And it was just watching a replay of the first game. Chelsea were pressing, but only kind of. It left huge spaces in behind. Barcelona, as clinical and efficient as they are, even playing some long balls, which is not typical of this Barcelona team, were just able to exploit the space. And it was kind of too easy for them, in all honesty. It was just not really a contest. And one of the things, alongside the tactics that Bonpastor wants to play, and I think she has this clear vision in her head about how she wants this Chelsea team to play. It's obviously year one. There will be time for this team to embed and fully execute the tactical vision. One thing that was very clear to me, and I mean no disrespect to any of our players when I say this, we do not have the athletes that Barcelona does. We just don't. They can run and run and run and press and press and press and do it all while making it look easy. And our team did it for the first 20 minutes and then looked completely gassed and looked like they were chasing shadows. And it is a significant problem when you are trying to play as high of a tempo as Barcelona is, that you have the fitness, you have the athleticism, you have the pace, you have the athletes to do it. And I don't think this team does have the athletes to do it. They're all phenomenal athletes. But at this very, very, very elite mountaintop level of the competition, I don't think we had the legs, and I don't think we had the force or the clinicality to take advantage of it, even when we did break through, which wasn't all that often, especially in the first leg. And that is for a manager. I think this is where I got a little bit frustrated with Bon Pastor's tactics in both games. It's fine to have that vision. It's fine to want your team to play this vision of your football. When you know that they're a physical mismatch, when you know that they're a tactical mismatch, you have to either beat them at their own game and do so really effectively, or try something else. And in the last 2 years, Chelsea have deployed the bus against Barcelona because chasing them around the field just made no sense with the athletes and the talent that we had. And instead, it made a lot more sense to, bunker down, ensure that they didn't get much to shoot, and Chelsea limited them in the last 2 seasons to very few shots on target, and counterattack when you can, and use your bursts of energy effectively and efficiently. And I don't think Bon Pastor ever wants to do that, so she didn't do that, and that's why an 8-2 aggregate score happened. And I think that is a back to the drawing board moment for everybody to go, either we do have the athletes and either we are going to be as well drilled and effective as Barcelona, or over 2 legs against this very good team. In a one-off fixture, anything can happen. Over 2 legs, the better team wins almost every time. It's probably wasn't the right approach, right? And that's okay. I think this team will learn. It was obviously a very difficult lesson to learn. I hate Barcelona with a burning passion. They drive me insane. They're too good to do all the shenanigans that they do all the time. But, neither here nor there. When they beat you 8-2, you got to tip your hat. That to me is a back to the drawing board moment. And I think partly the mentality wasn't there this time. I don't know why, because I think Millie Bright wanted this more than anybody. And it just didn't look like the team believed for whatever reason. I didn't get that sense of, we're going to go out on our shields. We're going to throw everything we got at this. Aaron Cuthbert did. Millie Bright did. But the rest of the team, I don't know. I didn't get the togetherness of the spirit, and I'm not sure why that happened. So complete overhaul, back to the drawing board moment for Chelsea, and I say that with love because I love watching this team. I want to see them succeed. I want to see them beat Barcelona and get over that hump as much as anybody else. But it has to start with the manager, and it has to be done effectively. And I think everything kind of faltered at this stage. The second thing I want to talk about is the attack, the insight that I'm probably most frustrated about after this season, where the attack started very hot, and then you've seen a gradual decline in offensive output. Obviously, losing Lauren James ahead of the 2 legs of this fixture were brutal. It's just a brutal loss because Lauren was playing her best football of the season, and she's such a handful and is the most technical player that we have by leaps and bounds. And it just made it very difficult to think about beating Barcelona without the Lauren James effect in this team. She's such a difference maker and a dynamo that's obviously going to hurt offensive production. Not having a real informed striker like a Sam Kerr at her best is another factor. And I think the rest of the attack, for how deep I felt like they were in domestic competitions, just did not have anywhere near the clinicality or ruthlessness that Barcelona showed. Barcelona has some killers, and they brought Periabuelo off the bench in this one. She's one of the best players in the world for my money. Like, she's incredible. They have Payor and Pina, who are just they shoot and they score. Like, that is their MO. And when you look at Chelsea's attack right now, you have Guro Reiten, who's probably trending, towards the end of her Chelsea career in a year or two. You have a 31-year-old Sam Kerr, who's now been injured for a year and a half and who almost certainly won't play the rest of the season now. So she'll be out for a full year and a half. You have a Mayra Ramirez, who, as dynamic as she can be, has gone on a huge cold spell, has not been a great finisher this year, and gets injured quite a bit. So you kind of have to manage her minutes effectively. you have a Johanna Cannerid, that production has just completely fallen off a cliff after the midway point. You have a Cat Mac, you have a Micah Hamano, those profiles who are not consistently playing enough to really, I think, impact the scoring totals. And you have an Aggie Beaver Jones, who I think is maybe just a bit too green for this big of a stage. I think you look across the gambit. Mia Fishel obviously is not in this Champions League squad, but there's a lot of talent in there. I'm curious if it is enough to put Barcelona to the sword. And I think if you're Chelsea Football Club and you want to win the Champions League, that has to be the number one goal in mind. I mean, Sandy Baltimore has been an excellent addition this year. Wonderful player. Could be the heir apparent at left wing after Guro is done. But I'm curious about everyone else. Does Sam Kerr come back healthy? Maybe. Does Cat Mac really get fully fit and is able to fire and play 30 games in a season? Maybe. Is Lauren James able to stay healthy and play at the elite level that she was playing at for parts of the season? Maybe. Aggie continues to grow. Maybe. The rest, I'm just not sure right now. And I think that it might just be a little bit of sadness on my part or misidentification of an issue. But those are the things that I'm kind of thinking about. The last point I want to make is just kind of where we go from here, right? We'll talk about the remaining fixtures here in a second, but Bon Pastor brought up this concept of reflection after this game. She said it's maybe not the right timing for us to talk about that because we still have 2 competitions to go and really important games to come. The one on Wednesday will be crucial again for the league, but as club and manager, I want to make sure that we reflect. These 2 games are 2 big lessons for us. If we want to move forward, we need to reflect on what we need to do to be a better team, to be ready to perform against the best team in Europe, which is Barcelona. Every club has that reflection. I remember when Barcelona lost the final in 2022 against Lyon, coached by Sonia Bon Pastor. They had a big reflection on how they could move forward and to be a better team. We'll have that time with the club, the ownership, sporting directors, and myself to make sure that we improve in the right direction to be able to compete against Barcelona and other teams. And that kind of reflects back on what I said about the attack. And I think probably looking at other positions as well. How does this team grow? And not only grow by addition, by player addition, but grow in mentality. I would like to see Chelsea when they inevitably play Barcelona in the semifinals next year for the 4th straight year. UEFA. I would love to see this team go out and take it to Barcelona and really make sure that they understand the Chelsea Football Club is here to stay, to play, to beat them, and to advance to a final. And that's not only with maybe some flashy new additions. We've already spent a ton of money on players, but why not? It's also just a mentality thing. And how does this team evolve over the next year to get to a point where they're playing their best football of the season, not at the beginning of the season, but at the end of the season? Something that Emma Hayes consistently got this team to do that right now I don't know if we're doing. And I think Bon Pastor is going to have to reflect on that for herself, and the players are going to have to reflect on that for their own performances. So that's for next year. But for this year, Chelsea are still in pole position in the league on 51 points to Arsenal's 45. Chelsea still have to play in the FA Cup final at the end of the year on May 18th. And on Wednesday, tomorrow, as you're listening to this or watching this video, Manchester United away. This could be the league, right? If Chelsea win this game, it's hard to see them losing to Tottenham or Liverpool, who are, Liverpool are 5th in the league, but a fair way off of City in 4th, and Tottenham are in 9th and struggling mightily. These are the last 3 league games of the year. Chelsea beat United. I think the league is pretty much wrapped. If Chelsea beat United in the final, that's a 3-trophy year. A 3-trophy year is an incredible achievement. if Chelsea are able to pull it off. A remarkable achievement. Everyone should be excited about a 3-trophy year. I know that the one that we are not going to win is the one that we all wanted, but a 3-trophy year is significant, and a treble would mean the world to a lot of us who follow this team every single week throughout the season. And I know that the diehards out there who are watching this video are upset and sad, and I get it. But let's really push on through the end of the year. Let's support this team as if nothing had happened on Sunday, the previous 2 Sundays. And let's make it special at the end of the year, because I know the players will be feeling down after those 2 performances, but I know the away fans will travel. I know they'll travel to Tottenham, and I know that May 10th at home against Liverpool is going to be a raucous atmosphere, and I'm very, very excited to see it. So we're going to wrap there. I appreciate everyone who watches these videos. It's a lot of fun to do most of the time, and let's see. Let's go get them next year. So until next time, Chelsea fans, you know what to do. Keep the blue flag flying high.